Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to A Song at Tara, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Edition Chronicle. This time last time, I am just as confused about what week this is. Like, how long have we been playing?
This is number 16.
This is the 16th week, okay. So, yeah. Okay, let's play some role-playing games, I guess. First of all, everyone is, once again, we're joined by everyone, except one out of everyone is a bit tardy to this affair, so she'll be dropping in as we move forward. But yeah, so should we talk about what happened last session?
Yes, we should. Go ahead, Daniel.
Strictly speaking, I think the word is chapter, right?
Yep.
I mean, let's buy into the terminology of the game system.
Sure.
Last chapter. What happened was we were entering a water, quote-unquote, purification facility in the Umbrascape of the Penumbra. And we threw open the doors. We looked into a facility that held the waters that were stolen from the Liffey. Through ingenuity, we stopped the poisoning process, learned that we could not do anything in that facility to purify the water, and so in turn we dumped it back into Gaia and let the water return to Liffey that way, being cleaned on the way. We also learned that Mr. Alistair McAlpin is still alive, or his spirit infecting the sound systems were... I don't know. Mr. Alistair McAlpin seems to be immortal. It has been indicated that he is still around. And we want to deal with that. I'm assuming, at some point. Anyway, as we had dumped the waters of the Liffey back into Gaia, we then left the water purification herder and returned to the Tellurian, where some of us went to Kat's place and some of us went to talk to Liffey and see if everything was okay. Before we then also went to Kat's place, we told Kat what had happened and what we had experienced, and she decided to go about dealing with it in her ways and instructed us that told us we had done a good job and so on and so on. We got told by the arrival of one of the Black Furies that shit was going down in Temple Bar. And not really sure why or how, but stuff was going on in Temple Bar, and we were mentally trying to connect it to some Umbra quakes we had felt. And then we went to speak to Liffey again, this time having her become a patron to us, as she accepted the charge of being our totem spirit. And then to finish that off, we all got our totemic powers, and Taryn was gifted with the Mother's Touch by Liffey. And that is where we ended last session, I believe.
Yes. It should then be said that in the downtime between the two sessions, Tally has also learned Mother's Touch, and Fenna has been looking for a ferret or ermine spirit, something of that nature in the Umbra, in order to learn a gift of her own, and she has pretty much narrowed down an area in which she can find such a critter.
Cool. And Aaron learned Sense Worm.
Yes.
Although I don't think we established where from. Just that he learned Sense Worm.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that one fly by saying that Liffey can teach you that as well. She is, after all, maddeningly powerful at least when she's clean. So.
Yeah. All right. So that's the thing that happened.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything they want to bring to the forefront? Something about their characters in relation to what has recently happened? Something that affects their characters in a way that we perhaps haven't seen on screen or that hasn't been discussed? Or something that has perhaps happened in the interim time between ending last session and starting this one that we want to have in the forefront of our minds as we begin?
Such as XP expenditure, in other words.
such as that, but also character stuff.
Sure.
As far as Aaron goes, I can't think of anything right now, so I'm just gonna say no.
Okay. And as I said, I'm going to go with that you've had 5 days worth of downtime between the two situations, and once we actually get in character in a moment, I'll tell you more about what you have learned over those 5 days.
Cool.
I will say, in terms of character development, from a stats point of view, Taliesin has decided to augment his the gift he has received through some basically trying to gain some rudimentary knowledge of medicine. So he actually has some degree of ability to actually heal things.
Good lad.
Other than that, he's been quietly stewing on the fact that a couple of members of the pack have thrown their support behind Aaron to become alpha. When the decision comes to choose someone, they will consider him happily for the position. Considering the stuff that Taliesin and Aaron had their big talks and their promises made almost under a year ago, it means he's now debating whether or not it means he should release Aaron of his promise, the promise he made him make to Taliesin to not vie for alpha position.
That's a very good point.
So it's something that he has to consider very, very soon and make a decision on very soon. Because obviously, if we're going to make that decision within the next session or two,
Yeah, I was actually going to personally suggest that when we return to our heroes, we should return to us talking alpha, because we've formed a pack, we've gotten rank, it's high time we do that.
That sounds like a plan for me, at least, but I'm not the one who makes that call, but yeah.
Yeah, I was raising the suggestion so people could agree or disagree.
Disagree, exactly. Yep. I'm just throwing my opinion in there and saying that does sound like a fairly smart idea.
If you want, we can say that we've called a meeting for when we start.
Yeah, people have had a few days to, rest and relax and calm down after a very, very hectic.
What's a good idea? I was distracted writing secret stuff to the DM.
that you start the day by having basically the when we rejoin the characters, that you will be that it'll be about who's going to be the alpha of the pack.
Oh, okay.
Right. Well, these are some good points that have been brought up about character stuff. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring to the forefront? I'm going to take the rip-roaring silence as a no for now and say that, okay, well, in that case, let's set a scene somewhere. Where have we agreed to host this meet? Where do we want to meet and talk about this stuff?
On the moon.
Oh yes.
I don't know why. Like the first image I had in my mind, because of the way Joan has described Dublin as being a city where people commute in daytime and then leave after work, so it becomes kind of barren during nighttime, except for the hotspots. I was envisioning the scene in an empty parking lot.
That's easily doable. That's easily doable. Plenty of those around during nighttime.
What? Empty parking lots?
Whoa.
Yeah,
I think we may have Aya joining us.
No, that was Hella's line.
Yeah, it was Hella's line.
Oh, okay.
Helle.
Hi, Hella.
I'm sorry. Should I just never speak in just like sort of breathy voices, or?
I don't know. Is that going to happen every time you do it?
I don't know.
I don't know. It certainly got very breezy in the chat.
I vote we sit inside a airtight
I don't know.
silver dome.
It may also have been that my computer slid across my jeans because I was readjusting myself to get some more tea.
Yeah,
that's probably it.
That's probably it, yes. All right. Are we ready to get going then?
Yeah. If someone has any other suggestions or wants for where we have this scene? We just have like a parking lot with just like our cars there and nothing else.
Well, I would still give you some updates on what has happened in the previous.
Most
Probably a good idea. Have I gotten a car? I don't think I have a car.
No, but quite a lot has happened. So
Connell has one.
Yeah,
Connell has one, and Aaron has one, so we can commute.
Yes.
Cool. What has happened?
Since last we had the pleasure of being in the company of our intrepid heroes and heroines. We have, or Dublin has seen a fairly tumultuous few nights. Again, Temple Bar has been the center of it. The first night's bloodshed was followed by 2 more nights of savagery and fighting, which led to the Garda temporarily closing the section of the city. This is not popular. Even it's not popular with the people who actually own establishments in that area. It's not popular with the Irish in general because it's a very popular hotspot to go at night. And it's probably not very popular with the leeches because there goes their meal ticket.
They've shut down Temple Bar?
They've basically shut down Temple Bar at first they've shut it down for a week to make sure that everything is calmed down and to give them time to investigate what the fuck is going on.
So that is still closed.
Yes, it is. It's still closed. It'll be closed for another 3 days. The situation is pretty dramatic. There are by the point that we rejoin the game, the first night saw 17 dead and 72 wounded. The next night had 8 dead and 32 wounded, and the third night had 14 dead and 20 wounded. People have been killing each other on rooftops, in back alleys, in apartments, not actually in the bars and nightclubs, but in the entire region or sector of the town. Obviously, if this had been, the real life, this would have basically caused all of Ireland to run into a lather and a frenzy, obviously. But this is the world of darkness. It's a different world.
Everyone's a bit more ambivalent.
Much more, in fact, especially, life is cheap in the world of darkness. And so that's what's happened. You have learned that there are 2 new leeches in town and that they are the ones who are causing all the panic on both sides of the leech war. Both Neve and Connor's groups are flipping out 6 ways from Sunday. At these 2 new creatures. Theodora has had a field day. Several field days. She's had a lot of fun hunting down stragglers.
Actually, that's a question I had when you mentioned all this. Is what has been the spin on this whole affair from within our little cult, like within our sept? Has it been like this is a vampire war and this is a good thing, or has it been?
Oh, that's pretty much it. So long as the leashes are killing each other, hey, all the better for us.
Fine.
It's also been made quite clear that nobody goes into Temple Bar alone. If you go into Temple Bar, if you actually want to risk that kind of hunt, you are to go in there in groups of at least 3. Because even though there aren't any revelers in the streets anymore, well, maybe perhaps especially because of that, the leeches will know the moment you go there, because you can't hide in the crowds on account of the crowds not being there anymore.
Sense.
Annoys Theodora.
It annoys Theodora, but instead she picks up stragglers from the edges of Temple Bar. It's not that big of an area after all.
I think Aaron's response to this thing, like from a Garou societal standpoint, he's just accepted it, right? Okay, the leeches are killing each other. That's fine. It's a shame people are getting hurt, but but I think from the city response to it and shutting down Temple Bar, I think he's been kind of he's been active online and maybe like had some outreaches to his to the people who work for him or who he knows, like a bit of an activist streak where he kind of doesn't agree with the whole martial law feeling of shutting down a section of the city. So I think he's been a little bit on the barricades about that in terms of interactions with the mortal world.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a roll kind of a lot after the fact for before we knew that it was because of 2 new vampires and vampires killing each other and all sorts of shit. Because it's really kind of mysterious, and Finna has curiosity, and she might have been tempted to go look at Temple Square from the Umbra.
Yep.
So the question is if I should set the difficulty to 8 or 9. 9 is max difficulty.
8.
8. Yeah, that's kind of what I was. Okay, Fenner didn't go spy on it from the Umbra.
No.
Not with 2 successes.
Wonderful. But I mean, does she still want to go? Like, has she expressed to the rest of us that she's kind of itching to get in there and sniff it out?
She may have.
I want to sniff vampire butts.
I mean, that could totally be a thing we wanted to touch on, right? So if she's expressed that could be a direction we want to move in. Or at least bring up for thought later on.
Yeah, the point is, of course, that by now you are pretty much in a position where you can pick and choose your own adventures.
Choose your own adventure game. Oh,
Yeah.
I want to
Exactly.
go spirit hunting and vampire hunting.
Well, in any case, that is the main thing that has happened. Obviously, other than that, the news from Tara are heartening in that they've had most of a week with only probing attacks at night. Nothing serious. They haven't had any more wounded or any more injuries of any kind. Everyone is basically calling it a miracle that nobody has died, although several people out there have landed some new scars to the collection. They aren't, of course, they aren't stepping down their vigil because the strange field Duracell, as you've called it, is still up all around Dublin and nobody can get in or out. So as long as that is the case, they perhaps quite wisely choose to see that as an indication that something screwy is still going on.
It's definitely still there for a reason. All right.
Oh, by the way, there will have definitely been a point shortly after we stopped last where Finna has been kind of freaked out that she notices that none of us have any trace of a scent to us.
Yeah, I can imagine she of all people would.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to sniff me that bad, honey, I can turn it on for you.
Now I imagine.
No, just because we haven't explicitly been told that in character that we got this gift, and Finna, she doesn't have the need to sniff you guys, but she does have acute senses.
That makes sense.
I now
notice.
imagine Shiva standing in her bathroom, annoyed that no matter how much perfume she sprays on, she can't smell anything.
I should mention that we have our last player back with us.
Yep.
So, hi AJ, welcome to the show.
Hi, last player.
Rip-roaring silence. Might you be muted, AJ?
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Hello.
Asmus, I hate you.
No.
Enough with the Timo laugh.
Can we please strangle Rasmus now?
Yes.
That laugh. I
Yes.
hate it.
Me too, and I don't even play that game.
Yeah.
Me neither.
All right, so so let's establish a scene, I guess, or has something else and noteworthy transpired in the interim?
Apart from that, no.
Okay.
And I'll be nice and say none of you have bond duty with Eric tonight.
That's nice. Well, that might be why we picked tonight, then.
Yes. And then
What moon is out tonight? It's 6 days later, right?
Yeah, and what was the moon last time around?
Full.
Oh, right, it was full moon. And I have to admit, I've lost track of the days.
Oh my god, worst game master. Oh.
Emma, yeah, I know,
Well,
but I have.
she's not a game master, she's a storyteller.
Ha ha ha, that's why.
I
Ha,
think
ha,
it
ha,
would
ha.
be somewhere between a Gaillard and a Philodox moon. Then.
I must actually, let me take a look here. I think we said that when we met was the
last time was-
31st of July.
Sounds about right.
And because that's a full moon.
That would be
And then
right.
it's been 5 days after that. That was a Friday, specifically. And then it's been 5 days after that. So let me take a look.
For the 5th of August 2015.
Yeah, exactly. 5th of August that is a Gaillard moon, almost Philodox moon, almost. 2 more days and we'll have Philodox. Actually, tomorrow will be the first day of Philodox.
A waning gibbous moon.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. I forgot.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, that is
2015, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's the and that's a Wednesday. So Taryn had her duties with Eric the night before.
Meaning the night until today.
No, she was there on Tuesday night, and now it's Wednesday night.
Alright.
So, if she stayed on duty, that I believe that gives some temporary
Renown.
renown. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
that's calculated at the end of each month when it's SEP duties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Exactly. And
But it's definitely worth mentioning because
absolutely worth keeping in mind, because eventually, obviously, you're going to have a new, the next mood is going to come up, and you're going to have to remember that you've done stuff like that.
yeah.
Anyhow, you are now gathered in a parking lot, and let me just move you over to a map where we can actually see more of Dublin. And I'm going to ding where you are. You are, in fact, very close to there. You're in Rathmines.
Shifting us.
Close to Aaron's flat.
Oh, cool. That makes sense. I would know the layout of the immediate area.
Exactly.
I believe Rathmines was the place in which I one day researching Dublin went into Google Street Viewer and found an open car garage on a dilapidated building with a guy inside it, only wearing trousers, chopping up plastic barrels with an axe.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to Dublin.
Yeah.
All right. The that is where you are anyway.
Cool. Yeah, I think. Aaron is there. He's been picking people up who the people who didn't ride with Connell and who didn't walk or take the bus or whatever. I don't even know what public transports actually run in Dublin late evening.
No, the Lewis runs through Rathmines as well, or close to Rathmines, until I think the last one leaves at midnight from St. Stephen's Green.
Cool.
Or is it 1 a.m? It's either or.
Yeah, he's been picking people up. I think when we see Aaron, he's probably dressed casually.
Mm-hmm.
Like the jeans, sneakers, a T-shirt that says "Bring on the Apocalypse," and a suit blazer.
Team Bring It.
Yep.
Taryn has
Ju-
probably
just-
walked. It isn't that far.
Yeah, so no problem. You are all there. Go right ahead. Take it away, guys.
Just a side note, my cat did something amazing today.
Go on.
He peed into his water dish without falling over.
Oh, you.
Look,
Okay.
And Rasmus thinks dogs are stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think I've said stupid ever.
Yeah,
I tend
you
to
have
say
actually.
needy.
Yes, you've said stupid several times, in fact.
No, I
So,
think I usually say they appear to be stupid.
Not to throw the hot potato.
Let's not go into that whole thing right now. We've already spent half an hour, guys.
Not to throw the hot potato, but I'm gonna throw the hot potato and say I want the ones who open the scene to be either the Philodox or the Gaillard. That's just my opinion.
all right, you sorry bunch. You all know what? I assume we all know why we're here.
Yeah. Pancake Tuesday.
Yes, of course. Ha ha. Very funny. Okay.
On a Wednesday?
Look. Without beating about the bush about it, the Sept expects our pack to come up with an alpha, and we need to oblige very soon. So let's get it sorted out now while we still can.
Yeah.
Eating about the bush sounds like something a peeping Tom would do.
Yikes, Fenna.
Typing is very loud.
Yeah.
In any case, do we all know what it means when we pick an alpha?
I mean, they've talked about it, but I can't honestly say that I really feel it. You know?
Well,
it's kind of one thing to get told, it's another thing entirely to experience it in the other packs. It seems weird.
yeah, I guess it does. I mean, we've always been... I was about to say we've been good at cooperating, but... I mean, in a pinch, we can work together, right?
You're stretching it, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
It might be a good idea to get some sort of order
Maybe. Or
That
maybe that's
does
someone
seem-
gets shot.
That does appear to be our way.
yes. Or maybe that's not what we need in the slightest. Maybe we just need a leader who embodies who we are as we are. If we work best in chaos, then let that inspire us further.
I mean, what do we all like? Do we all agree on what it means for us to have a leader? I know what they've told us, but what do we feel like? What does it mean to have an alpha?
Someone who makes sure we don't run each other way and get in each other's way.
As I see it, because we've
Aaron
become
nods at
pretty...
Taran, by the way. Go on, Rasmus.
We've become quite good at talking about issues once the timbers have died down. So as I see it, it will mostly be a on-the-field kind of thing. Field commands and stuff like that. Or am I wrong?
That's how I see it too. All we need is someone to coordinate a little while we're out.
Aaron makes a non-committing noise that you probably think is acceptance of your words.
So he grunts or something.
Yeah.
Sounds like a caveman while he's at it.
Raining men out here.
I believe that the Alpha should be one who we trust to represent us when the need comes, to coordinate us when we need such actions, to act as, well...
I'm not sure I necessarily agree on the represent part. I mean, we have a lot of different talents, right? Let's say, for example, I was the Alpha. I wouldn't want to represent us on the IT side. I want Taran to do that.
According to Caesar Milan, a pack leader should project a calm, assertive energy.
So none of us then.
So,
Nope.
to quote a great TV show, suck my asshole, Taco Bender.
Your
That's
taste,
racist. Hear that.
your taste in television is very strange, Aaron.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, believe me, I do. I remember I hang out with him.
Yeah.
Aaron flashes you an appreciative smile.
Why do you, though?
Finna.
It's to give Taryn something to work into her fan fiction.
Oh, in that case, please carry on, Taliesin.
I do it because he's as much a part of the pack as everyone. I think I want to be able to get along with everyone in this group. I want to be there for everyone doing their things, their individual interests and likes.
Okay, Finna right now looks at Tally like, did he just take me seriously? He wasn't meant to take me seriously.
I agree, but I also think you have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. No homo.
Aw, not even a little bit.
Just a little, for the fans.
Just a tip.
You know, when you
Just
add
the
no
tip.
homo, it just makes it worse, right?
Yeah.
See, I don't trust your views on this matter, being the very dedicated author that I know you to be.
No, it makes it worse.
It's clear, going back to the point, it's clear that we all agree that there's no ideal candidate among us to be the alpha, but is there anyone here that people feel comes close?
I do want to say that I agree with Shiva. Whoever among you is selected for alpha, that person needs to be grounded enough to realize when someone else ideally should take charge.
I mean, delegating work, right?
Aaron nods at you. This is something his entire resource pool is based on delegation, so he just nods in a very it's very directly. You've hit the nail on the head with him in that regard.
Speaking of work, Tally? I could use your creative skills.
I'll be happy to offer them, but maybe not right now.
Yeah, let's stay on the topic. What about you? He says, looking to the Getter Fenris.
Obviously, the easy way to determine the pack leader is to just battle it out.
But that only tells us who hit the hardest and the fastest.
Yeah.
And according to Getter Fenris, according to other Getter Fenris, that is the way to determine it.
Yeah, but
It's
the
not
Getter
just-
Fenris in our set
At
is
least
not
Kat
really
says other
that bad.
Getter Fenris say that.
He
Let's
does,
try to be more like Cat than other Gena Fenris then.
but it's not just cat though, and that's actually a valid point. I mean, I know how that sounds, and I know. I mean, it battling it out doesn't sound that ideal for selecting a leader to me either. But these have been our ways for a long time, and even though some of us here questions the ways, he says, flashing an idiotic smile, and shrugging.
I think the smile is returned, and then Shiva catches herself and just nods.
Even though that's the case, we also have to kind of accept, I think, that we're part of something that has been coming, that's something that came before us for a long time, something that is very steeped in a certain tradition for a reason, and it's not just to get a Fenris who do this. I know that this is common practice among the Fina too, and if I am to understand some Stormcrow spirits correctly, it is also practiced in my tribe.
I think Shiva rolls her eyes.
For obvious reasons, I can't really say how it's done in my tribe.
I mean, you should have the easiest time getting. Can't you get back in touch with your folks?
They don't know anything either.
I don't mean your folks. I mean your New York peeps.
There might be some sort of forum, though I suspect it might be heavily guarded by spirits.
Oh, there are.
Aaron shrugs, realizing he's just kind of egged on Taryn on a topic he doesn't know anything about. So it's okay, well, whatever you say. So, I mean, if we all agree what we kind of want in an alpha, who's vying?
Depends, ultimately. I know it can't be simple, but the way I see it, there are two choices, and I need to make a decision as to which one I feel is more important in the grander scheme of things. If I want an alpha who can stabilize us, who we can all relate to, who can keep us on focus in everyday situations, in planning, in dealing with the various ins and outs of just interacting with Dublin and the Sept and everything we do, then I would say that I would cast my vote in for Shiva. If, however, I wanted someone who was able to keep us focused and active, to push us towards the goal in crisis moments, as we often need, not that we can't all operate well in battle by ourselves, but we work so much better as a group, then I would say that I would cast my vote for you, Aaron.
I think Aaron shares a look with you, and in typical RPG player character format, bullshit format, and a sentence is exchanged in that look, because we, as player characters, we naturally master the non-verbal communication skill to a T.
Yeah,
so there's this look that is asking the question if this means what it seems to mean. Like, are you saying what I'm thinking you're saying?
Taliesin's eyes, if they could convey full sentences, is basically saying, you need to ask me that out loud. Because it needs to be legitimate. Everyone needs to hear it.
If we really wanted to make you hate us, you two guys should make some, I don't know, charisma or manipulation plus expression rolls, and then some perception plus empathy rolls.
Don't forget to add modifiers for the lighting and the temperature.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I'm actually of the belief that while it's never listed on anyone's character sheet, every character ever in any role-playing game ever has that language as a bonus language, being able to communicate plot hooks with their fellow players at a glance.
PC bullshit glance language.
Yes, PC bullshit. Yes, I like that name, actually.
Can we give it another name than PC bullshit?
I like PC bullshit.
But
How about
I don't like politically correct bullshit, though.
All right, so just I'm gonna reel it back into the scene, and
Yes.
you do convey that, and I mean this takes a moment, right? And he verbalizes it. He says, "You sure? You think you're actually sure?"
Sure as I can be. Yes. If that's what's best for us, then I won't get in your way.
I am in full agreement with Taliesin, and I know that might sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I guess I am.
We're a bragging society. It's all about saying you're the best.
At some things, I guess.
Exactly. Yes. So, I would put it to everyone that we need to decide whether we want a leader who excels in peace or in battle. Which I know is oversimplifying it a little bit, but that does feel to me what it comes down to at its barest.
Well, on one hand, we don't have peace. On the other hand, Team Mom seems like she would be a good leader.
I think Shiva chuckles at that one.
I mean,
she is Team Mom.
if
And a team, she's Team Mom.
this is all good, I think that Taliesin makes a good point, but anyone else want to vie for Alpha Ship?
May I perhaps offer another suggestion? Perhaps we should consider combinations, because, as I understand it, there's also such a thing as a beta.
Aaron nods. There is, I think so. I think I've heard that multiple times. I mean, Joseph is the beta of the Sept, and Kat is the alpha of the Sept. I think that structure extends to packs.
Yeah, and I assume at least that Joseph evens out Kat's leadership in certain ways where he can supply her with skills she doesn't necessarily possess.
I think, and I'm not saying I know Kat's mind, but I think in her mind, I do think this. I think she chose Joseph for her beta because he's a survivor. And I think that she knows that if she dies, she wants the Sept to survive. I also think that would be enough reason in itself for choosing Taliesin as the beta.
That makes Taliesin look up a bit.
Because I don't feel anyone among us contributes as much to the coherence and the the coherence and the survival of this pack as much as he does.
I've always just done what I thought was best for us, was necessary. But if anyone else agrees with Aaron, I hear someone complaining.
2 seconds.
You in the back row, shut up!
was that Connell just having a moment?
Someone yammering from the cheap seats.
No, that was Bacon.
The most ironically named dog in all of Denmark.
Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are worse.
Well, yeah.
Well, I met a cat named Mouse.
Oh, I know. I think there was someone in my sister's class or something. At least I've heard of someone that someone knew who had 3 dogs called Oops, Horse, and Undskyld.
No, that might happen. You know, if someone goes by with a stroller or makes a U-turn, or the neighbor comes home, or someone breathes out on the street. It's just another reason I dislike dogs. I mean, I know it's to protect us, but
yeah. So briefly,
Just have to assert yourself as alpha.
Go on.
Yes, I was going to say. Alison will probably follow up this slightly stunned speech by saying, "Well, I'm not just the only one here. Does anyone else want to suggest or nominate themselves as a candidate for the second position before we decide on anything else?"
well, as I said earlier, during this, if we vote, my vote would probably be for Aaron. And as such, I would also like, I suppose, to run for beta.
A sensible decision, to be sure.
That's not to say I wouldn't accept alpha, of course.
I don't feel that if I was to not be your alpha, I would not make for a very good number 2. I feel there's a stronger candidate in that, both in Shiva and in Tally. And in that case, I'd be willing to cede it for another position. Because I do think that you are more suited for it. And I also think having me as beta would cast aspersions on this pack from the rest of the Sept, even though they won't admit it.
Why?
Because of my tribe.
They fear that by the nature of who he is, he will conspire and attempt to betray and backstab for power.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten about that. It's just, sometimes I forget that we base people on who they're born as.
Yes, it's a credit to you that you don't.
There's a loud growl from Taryn. She doesn't like it either.
Okay, well now we've got...
I have one more suggestion.
Of course.
And it's probably a bit of a wild card. But I think if if one has the appropriate bullshit filter, I think one could benefit from having Finna as a beta.
Aaron furrows his brow at that point. He's like, I'm not sure I completely agree with that. And he doesn't admit it out loud, but in his mind he knows that it's because he probably lacks that filter. So it's like, I don't like the notion.
Well, if the entire group had the appropriate bullshit filter, you could just make me the alpha.
If
I don't
the entire
think we'd
group
survive
had the
that.
appropriate bullshit filter, I think you would be lonely.
I don't think we'd survive one day with you as an alpha, especially if it's a peaceful day.
What? Nothing wrong with a bit of, adrenaline hunting.
No, but
No,
Rocket,
I was just thinking you'd drive us all to suicide.
yeah, I was thinking that too. I think playing Chicket with a truck convoy wearing rocket skates is not our idea of a peaceful time.
Can you get me a pair of rocket skates, though?
Aaron thinks about that for a moment and nods. Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Taliesin goes a little bit cross-eyed.
Sorry, yeah, let's keep it on track then. As I have been nominated for Pack Alpha, I rescind my vote. Does anyone, and I think Shiva too has been nominated. I think it's up to the rest of you to decide what you want.
That might actually be a good idea. You do realize that's one less vote for you, right, Aaron?
Well, you too.
Well, should we have an alpha vote then, and then afterwards everyone can vote for a beta, or does the alpha pick the beta, or...
I think traditionally the alpha would pick the beta. I think we stick with the votes. How do you feel about that?
Well, I do like to question the ways.
Aaron just nods at you, flashes a little smile.
Oh, I split throat, but you don't see me doing it all the time.
I think you would if you could get away with it.
Yeah, kind of has a raw kind of taste to it. I'm not that into raw food.
Wanna go for sushi sometime?
Sure.
Want to go for sushi later?
Sure.
Wanna go for sushi right now? Oh wait, we have to find the alpha
Yeah.
and beta.
We must have alpha sushi. Don't know why the fuck I just said that. Anyway.
I think Aaron casts a look at everyone to make sure that everyone looks like they're feeling okay with what's going on.
So how do we do the voting?
That was a hint to everyone that you could speak up if you didn't look like you were okay with it.
I think at this point Aaron notices Connell sitting in his car, looking like he really couldn't give much of a rat's ass about it all.
I think then in that case we're probably propped up against your car. Maybe we're sitting on the hood and so on talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Scratching your initials in the paint job with that sort of thing.
No, we can't because Connell hasn't left enough room. He's the guy who would have a John Hancock.
Would he really be as stupid as to do that to his own car, though?
I'm not answering that. I'm not answering that. This is an election year.
Yeah. So Connell basically is abstaining.
Oh no, he'll vote when it's time to vote, but just saying that he doesn't look like it's really much of a thing.
Okay, so he'll continue to be unknown to us until it comes up.
And I think also that this isn't a surprise for anyone. If it's been talked about throughout the time they've been together, Colin will have mentioned on any occasion it's been relevant that he doesn't really see much of a need for an alpha. But
no,
yeah.
Yes.
So, how do we do?
I mean, I guess we just
Show of hands.
take turns.
Take turns?
Yeah, say... I'm imagining people will have stuff on their minds, and this is the best possible time to say those things, I feel. And then...
Oh, like a debate?
Yeah, I mean, no, I feel going around and he gestures to everyone but you and himself. Says, I'm sure everyone has something they would want to say for their candidates for alphaship before they cast their vote, and then we can hear it straight from everyone. So no matter who they pick, at least we'll know the sentiment we're being chosen with.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we could do a questions round, like, if you're chosen for Alpha, will you increase our taxes or something like that?
I think we could, but I also think that Connell would just, hit the engines and just, run us over if we did.
That's true.
And so to emphasize that, Connell starts his engine.
If I am elected for Alpha, I will put a tax on every time anyone groans at the Ragabash's jokes.
Oh god, that would ruin me.
What's the tax? 5%? 10%?
Yet to be determined.
That's the worst kind of tax.
Sure is.
No,
Well,
the worst kind of tax, says the disembodied voice in the ether. The worst kind of tax is not the yet to be determined tax. The worst is the individual pending on each situation.
Yeah.
Well, that one still has yet to be determined.
Totally subjective.
To start the show off, Aaron's eyes would definitely fall on Taliesin, right? Because Taliesin, in Aaron's mind, is his closest confidant. So the person he would be most interested in hearing speak up would naturally be Taliesin.
It is very interesting because I trust both of my choices to know and to allow everyone to excel as they need to, as they say, to delegate roles if necessary given the situation. But there is personality to consider, and, well, it's difficult, it really is. Okay. Bearing in mind that I don't want to tread on anyone's toes by what I choose, and bearing in mind what I have observed and how we've operated over the last few weeks, months, years, I'm going to say that my choice for Alpha in this occasion will be Aaron.
Aaron nods severely.
Shiva also nods.
And I think he just does a quick take of Shiva out of the corner of his eye to make sure that she looks okay.
I think she smiles slightly. I mean, he basically voted for the same person she would vote for, so...
Thanks, Tally. Means a lot to me.
Don't make me regret it. He says he's not serious when he says it. He's got a smile, but he obviously is obligated to say that.
Aaron just nods severely again, and then his gaze travels clockwise to whoever one of you is next to Tally. Someone someone speak up.
Connell, then.
Okay.
Connell looks at the two contenders for the title. I would personally prefer it be Shiva. I like the idea of a hot alpha. But we are in a constant state of war. We're bred for it. It's what we've been training for ever since we became aware of our situation as werewolves, there will never be peace for us. I refuse to believe that'll be a thing. We'll always be either attacking, assaulting, defending, or whatever. And as such, I firmly believe that we need our alpha to be a warrior. And by that, I don't mean to say that you, Shiva, are not a warrior, or any one of us isn't a warrior. We all are, but some of us have that specific role, that specific place in Garou society. Myself and Aaron. And as much as it absolutely tears me apart to think that I'll be taking orders from Aaron, I need to give him my vote.
Makes sense.
Aaron nods at you a little less severely than he did at Taliesin and says, "Remember, I thought you were going to jump into the race yourself there."
No.
He flashes you a joking smile. Thank you, Connell. And just to be fair, I mean, you did cast your vote for the hottest option.
I will have to agree to disagree on that, but that's enough discussion for another time.
Aaron just smiles dumbly, knowing fully well what you just said.
Aaron, I have a feeling that narcissism is just as bad as homosexuality in the litany. You can't make any offspring with a mirror.
I mean, surely our traditions have stemmed from people doing their best.
Actually, Aaron, you can't do that because werewolf shall not mate with werewolf.
Oh, that's also true.
So, ignoring majority verdicts, I'd like to hear from Taran and Fenner about this.
Yeah.
I think, now personally, I think we've established that Taran is, even though we kind of have a good chemistry in the group in its entirety, I think we've established that Taran is the Omega. And so I think Aaron's eyes would fall on Fenner first.
I think Shiva whispers, "Get ready to get roasted."
What Daniel just said just fits so well with the last thing I wrote in chat.
Huh.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it is.
So,
but it's true.
yeah.
All right, so...
You're in chat. You can literally just look up.
Well, yeah, so... I guess, does Fenner have anything to say? I assume she does.
I do agree that the leader we need is one for times of war, and not one for times of peace. Just know, Aaron, though you're getting my vote now, that is not a full endorsement of everything you will do as an alpha. You still have to prove yourself.
Aaron nods his agreement to you and smiles politely and appreciatively. I'll do my darndest.
Fenner nods.
Trust that I have you to bite me in the chops. Should I overstep that?
As long as we can all trust you to let her do that.
It's gonna happen.
It is.
You can't hold back the ragabash.
Majority vote, sure. But I still want to hear from Taran.
Taran looks around. Well, you've already been elected, so there's really no reason.
Aaron smiles like a warm, inviting smile at you and says, "Indulge me, please. I really want to know your opinion."
I would have wanted
I think we
Shiva.
all do.
Any particular reason?
Whenever we needed to talk with someone we didn't have to kill, you were good.
Aaron nods
True.
at this.
Shiva does as well, and then she adds, "That's true. I suppose I can still be delegated that task."
Of course.
Absolutely.
And
But
then
that
she
doesn't change my mind.
And well, you had my vote as well, Aaron. I know I withdrew my voting rights, but
I still say you should battle it out, though.
I'd lose.
Tap. Who's typing?
probably
Sorry.
him.
Oh, it's no worries.
I don't feel like getting all emotion-y on you guys. I think everyone just wants sushi.
We still don't have a beta.
Yeah.
We could discuss that on the way.
Thank you, everyone.
So, jump in the car?
I think Aaron might, even though he doesn't want to get all mushy, still want to say at least something. No?
Aaron looks like I was ready to escape into the sushi, man. don't bring me back here.
At that, I think Shiva just shrugs.
But I think like he's now been roped into it, so he looks around trying to look for something smart to say, and I think he just winds up saying, "I mean, we bear unbowed our endless plight. Let that be enough."
Mm-hmm.
We bear unbowed our endless plight.
I know it was a good line, but I can't help but feel it's a little unwieldy if we say it every single time.
We could just have one say it and then answer with unbowed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, or just unbowed all the times if we're in a hurry, for example. Yeah, just imagine that. Imagine me or you or Aaron standing up proudly in the middle of a hail of gunfire, and we try saying, "We bear unbowed," and get cut
No,
down.
I think at that point I'd have you recite the whole thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Let's go to some fucking sushi.
So how we'll discuss this is we're going in two cars.
I think loudly, driving down both lanes.
Maybe we should consider discussing it after we've had a quick break.
Yeah, I think so too.
Tally
Good
wants
idea.
fucking sushi, so I guess we should find somewhere we can have it served on a naked lady.
Oh, God!
Yes.
I mean, he is a carnivore.
Taran comes with a little, "I'd be in for that."
Wait, does that mean he can only have sashimi when we go to sushi?
Oh, God.
Kind of
All right,
fist bumps
so-
down.
We'll have a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and return with more A Song of Tara.
Thank you.
Let's rejoin our pack after the break. And for you, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere.